إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. أما بعد. طيب يا إخوة, we will start next chapter نواقض الوضوء. نواقض الوضوء, what nullifies wudu? The word nawaqid is plural of naqid. And Allah said, وَلَا تَنْقُضُوا الْأَيْمَانِ بَعْدَ تَوْكِيدِهَا. And do not break your vow after you accepted it. So nawaqid means to nullify. And we have nawaqid al-Islam, nawaqid al-wudu, nawaqid al-nikah, nullifier of many things. All this. nawaqid al-wudu, قال الشيخ بن باز نواقض الوضوء وهي ستة. Nullifier of wudu are 6. The first one is الخارج من السبيلين. Basically, the first one is anything that comes out. Your sabilain, when you urinate, when you excrement, anything like that. That nullifies wudu. The hadith says, لا يقبل الله صلاة أحدكم إذا أحدث يتوضأ. That Allah will not accept one of your prayer إذا أحدث. This word أحدث means if he breaks his wudu, whether by urination or breaking his wind or excrement, any of this, Allah, that will nullify his wudu, and Allah will not accept his salah until he makes wudu. Also, hadith, one of the companion, Safan, one of the companion radiallahu anhu, Prophet said to him that when you are musafir, you can wipe over your socks 3 days and 3 nights. Except then he said, except you're in janaba, you can't. You have to have bath. But if you're in gha'id, or if you're going to do excrement or urination or sleep, these are the things you have to make. You can wipe over your socks. Fahimtum. So Prophet said to the companions, if you're musafir, you can wipe over your socks, except if you're in janaba. Janaba is if you have sex if someone has intercourse with his wife or has a wet dream, then you can't wipe over your socks. You have to have a bath. But you can wipe over your socks if you go to a toilet, to urinate or to do excrement, or if you sleep. We're going to cover that inshallah. Any of these, that will break wudu, but just wipe over your socks. So shows that anything that come out from a sabilain, you have to make wudu. طيب. وخارج الفاحش نجس من الجسد. طيب. The abandonment of discharge from the body, like blood. Blood, some of the scholars have said that a lot of blood nullifies your wudu. One of the opinions that if you have a lot of blood coming out, nullifies wudu. But here Shaykh says it doesn't nullify because there is nothing thabit to say that it nullifies wudu. Blood, because scholars of the past have mentioned the Salaf, the Sahabas, they prayed with their blood. We have many stories. One of the stories of Ali radiallahu anhu, that he had injury on his leg. Actually, he had arrow on his leg, and when he was praying, he was bleeding. While he was praying, and they pulled the arrow out, showed he was bleeding. Also, Urwa bin Zubayr radiallahu anhu, once upon a time he was afflicted by a disease. The doctor said, we have to cut your leg. So for you not to feel the pain, we're going to put some alcohol, khamr. So he said, no, don't do that. I'm going to stand in the salah and you cut my leg. So the lesson from this athar is that the amount of khushu he had in his salah. They were cutting his leg while he was praying. He didn't feel much. Obviously he was bleeding as well. And also many other narrations that supports the view that blood does not nullify your wudu. They prayed with the blood in jihad and things like that. That's the most authentic opinion. It doesn't break wudu. The third one is that zawal aql binawmin aw ghayrihi. That anything that take your regain, it takes your intellect or takes your consciousness, whether sleep or anything else. So when you go to sleep, you're not conscious. You're unconscious. The sleep breaks your wudu. There's 3 types of sleep. When you're sleeping, you're lying in your bed or sofa, whatever, and you're in deep sleep. You have no consciousness. You have no awareness. You went to sleep, in very deep sleep, that will nullify wudu. If you're sleeping, second type of sleep is that if you're sleeping on your sofa or chair, but you're just sleeping, that will not nullify salah, because their hadith where Sahabas will delay the Isha and they will be sleeping, they will be leaning against the wall and they'll be sleeping and they will not make wudu. They'll go and pray straight away without making wudu. So if you're leaning, you're sitting on a chair, and if you go to sleep, that will not nullify your wudu. What if someone is standing in salah and he's so tired and he closes his eyes, he had a nap? That ulama says if you're sitting down, doesn't nullify wudu. If you're standing up, kadhalik will not nullify wudu. Even if in sajda, you go to sajda, you're so tired, you just quickly, for a few seconds, you just close your eyes or something like that. Your wudu is still valid, inshallah. Now the fourth one is Masul Faraj bil Yad Qubulan Kana aw Duburan Min Ghayri Ha'il. That whoever touches the private part or holds his private part, front or the back, without any barriers, that will nullify his wudu. Okay, there's a khilaf on this. Regarding this, the mas'ala is ikhtilaf between the scholars. The first opinion is that it nullifies the wudu. They use the hadith of Busra bin Safwan radiallahu anhum, and the Nabi قال Man massa dhakaru falyatawadda. That whoever holds or touches private part, let him make wudu. Falyatawadda. So some of the scholars said this hadith, they have ikhtilaf, is it authentic or not authentic. Some say it's not authentic hadith. Shaykh Albani makes it authentic. Some say it's not authentic, but they say based on this hadith, if someone touches private part, will nullify his wudu. On the other side of the scholars, the other side, they said that it doesn't break wudu, because hadith of Talq bin Ali radiallahu anhu, the one Prophet was asked, if you touch your private part, does it break wudu? He said, إِنَّمَا هُوَ بِدْعَةٌ مِنْكَ. It is part of your body. So the scholar says, if someone were to touch his hand, or his head, or his leg, or his stomach, whatever, does it break his wudu? No. So what would that break your wudu? So the scholar says that. So what is the jama' between that hadith and that hadith? So they say that number one, they say that where Prophet said you have to make wudu, it's recommended, mustahab. And the other hadith, we said it's part of your body, it's no wajib on you to make wudu. Also, they say that the first hadith, when Prophet commanded to make wudu, means that if you hold it with shahwa, with desire, that will nullify wudu. And if you touch it without shahwa, desire, then it will not nullify wudu. طيب. So that's the conclusion on this topic, inshallah. So the jama' of the two hadiths, one said because part of your body, it doesn't nullify wudu. This hadith says it doesn't nullify wudu, make wudu. What is the how do you harmonize them? It's if with shahwa, if it will desire, then it will nullify your wudu. طيب. الخامس أكل لحم الجزور, eating camel meat. The hadith is clearly that we have a hadith that some of the companion they ate meat of camel, and they said, "Tawaddaw min luhum al-ibil?" قال نعم. They said to Prophet ﷺ, "Do we have to make wudu after eating camel meat?" He said, "Yes." Allah knows best why, but we have to have wudu. We have to make wudu if we eat the camel meat. The last one is ridda عن الإسلام عاذنا الله والمسلمين من ذلك. Apostating from Islam, may Allah protect us and everyone. طيب, ridda is one of the type of kufr, which means to leave Islam. Now, if a Muslim leave Islam, he's kafir, therefore his wudu is nullified as well. Allah says in the Quran, "La in ashrakta la yahbatanna amaluka," that whoever associates anything with Allah will nullify all his action. وَمَنْ يَكْفُرُ بِالْإِيمَانِ فَقَدْ حَبِطَ عَمَلُهُ, that whoever does kufr in his belief, then all his action will be nullified. لا تقبل صلاة أحدهم إذا أحدث حتى يتوضأ. Okay, again, this is also part of it, that if anyone, one of his salah will not be valid if he makes ahdatha. This ahdatha means if he breaks his wind or any, but also part of it that Shaykh brings here, if we apostate from Islam. Okay, that if you apostate from Islam, your salah won't be valid. Islam is not there, it won't be valid. Also, من عمل صالحا من ذكر أو أنثى وهو مؤمن فلنحيينه حياة طيبة, that whoever does righteous action, male or female, and they're believer, then we'll make them live a good life. So shows that whoever does good action, male or female, while they are a believer. So what if they are not a believer? It will not be accepted. طيب, that's another way of understanding it. Here, Shaykh said tanbih ham, important lesson here. أما غسل الميت as for washing the dead body, فالصحيح أنه لا ينقض الوضوء. The authentic opinion is that it does not nullify wudu. وهو قول أكثر أهل العلم لعدم الدليل على ذلك. And that's the most of the scholars' opinion, that because there's no evidence for it. That if you wash the dead body, you don't have to, it doesn't nullify your wudu. لكن لو أصابت يد الغاسل فرج الميت من غير حائل وجب عليه وضوء. But if a person is washing the dead body and by chance he touches his private part without any barrier, then he need to make wudu. There is a hadith which من غسل ميتا فليغتسل, that whoever washes the dead body, then let him make a bath. This hadith, Shaykh Albani, rahimahullah, he authenticates the hadith. Some says it's not authentic. Shaykh bin Baz is da'if. And some of the scholars say this is not statement of Prophet, it's a statement of Abu radiallahu anhu. It is not marfu, it is mawquf. طيب, ala kulli hal, that what is authentic is that it does not nullify wudu if you were to make taghsil of a mayyit. Also, adding a bit more inshallah, وهكذا مس المرأة لا ينقض الوضوء مطلقا سواء كان ذلك عن شهوة أو غير شهوة في أصح قول العلماء ما لم يخرج منه شيء، لأنه مثلا قبل بعض نسائه ثم صلى ولم يتوضأ. Now the next mas'ala issue is that if someone were to masla here, okay, if someone were to kiss his wife, it will nullify his wudu. Even out of shahwa, if he kisses his wife, it will not break his wudu as long as he does not ejaculate. As the ulama have said, the Prophet he hadith said that Prophet he would kiss his wife and he go to the masjid and he will not make wudu. Ma lam yakhruj minhu shay, as long as it does not ejaculate. Now, if you ejaculate, then it will nullify your wudu. Hadith of Ali radiallahu anhu, he said, كنت رجل مذاء فاستحيت أن أسأل صلى الله عليه وسلم لمكانة إمته مني. That I was a person of madha. Madha is he is to ejaculate madhi. Madha means lot of madhi. Madhi is something comes out through shahwa, desire. I used to have a lot of that. And I was shy to ask Prophet ﷺ because I am his son-in-law. So I sent Miqdad to go ask Prophet ﷺ, what shall I do? Prophet said, يغسل ذكره ويتوضأ. وفي رواية ينضح فرجه يتوضأ. One says, let him wash the private part and make wudu. Another hadith says, let him sprinkle water and then make wudu. Shows that such thing, if you ejaculate, that will nullify person's wudu. He need to make wudu. So madhi, mani, and wadi. Wadi comes, some fluid comes when you're urinating. Madhi comes when you are affected by shahwa, desire. And mani is pure, which is that through intercourse and things like that. So madhi is najas, najasun, yeah. So here we learn, my brothers, if a person were to touch his wife or kiss his wife, that will not nullify his wudu as long as nothing ejaculate. أما قول الله سبحانه وتعالى في آيات النساء أو لمستم النساء here must here mean intercourse, meaning that if you intercourse you have to have a bath, okay, you have to have a bath. And Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu says that anywhere, normally when the mas is used in the Quran like this, refers to intercourse. وهو قول ابن عباس وجماعة من السلف وخلف والله ولي التوفيق. And this is statement of Ibn Abbas and a lot of ulama of the Salaf. And Imam Tabari mentioned this. Must here mean touching your wife, here mean intercourse. It refers to intercourse. So what we have covered, some of the chapters relating wudu. طيب, we covered that. Shaykh bin Baz, rahimahullah, brings the next chapter, my brothers. The next chapter is التحلي بالأخلاق مشروعة لكل Muslim. The next one is to beautify yourself with Islamic manners. Okay, to beautify yourself with Islamic manners. Adorn yourself with good adab, good character. Now, in Islam, akhlaq is something encouraged by Sharia of Allah Azza wa Jal. And Prophet ﷺ in the Quran, Allah described him with good akhlaq. لَقَدْ كَانَ فِي رَسُولِ اللَّهِ أُسْوَةٌ حَسَنَةٌ. That indeed in the Messenger of Allah, you have best of the character, adab. And adab, Islam encourage a lot. And there are a lot of evidences, there are a lot of dalil where akhlaq is very heavy in the scale, in the mizan. And if you look at the nusus, the text of the Quran and Sunnah, we'll see that as a Muslim, we should be having a lot of good character, adab. In the hadith, Prophet said that أكمل مؤمن إيمانا وأحسنهم خلقا. That what makes a believer complete is good adab, iman, belief, and what makes him beautiful is adab. What makes you complete is the belief, isn't it? Because if you just have good adab but no belief, it doesn't mean anything. But if you have the belief, iman, you're complete in that aspect. And what beautifies you is the adab. You can have a believer, okay? He's got iman, everything. But if he's got bad character, it will not look nice. It will not look nice. So what beautifies us is the adab. And Shaykh al-Islam said, Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah a'lamun nas haqqan wa ahsanuhum khuluqan. The Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, they are most knowledgeable when it comes to the deen, and they're most beautiful when it comes to adab. طيب? So adab is something we encourage to develop in ourselves. Husnul khulq. What I mean is husnul khulq, to have good adab. Now, if you look at the Salaf, they encourage this. Many aqwal, in many of the statements. Umar said, تَأَدَّبُوا ثُمَّ تَعَلَّمُوا. He said that have good adab, learn good adab, then learn this other part of the Sharia. Adab we learn not just from the books, but adab you learn sitting with the scholars. You know, practically you see them how they behave. Imam Ahmed, rahimahullah, when he used to give dars, he would have a lot of students. He have a lot of students. 500 reported, 500 would be sitting there writing the hadith, memorizing hadith, and you have 500 sitting there just looking at his adab, learning his adab. So adab is something that you learn practically, as much as we learn from the book as well. قال ابن عباس اطلبوا الآداب فإنه زيادة في العقل. That seek for good character, it is an increase in your intellect. طيب, seek to learn adab. Subhanallah. قال إمام النخعي رحمه الله تعالى, إبراهيم النخعي, كانوا إذا أتوا رجلا ليأخذوا عنه نظروا إلى سمته وصلاته وإلى حاله ثم يأخذون منه. Ibrahim al-Nakha'i rahimahullah said that when people came to a person, the Salaf, if they come to an Imam or anyone, they will look at his character. You look at his character, his prayer, and his situation, his hal, then they will take from him. Now, adab is something that, if you want to make a companion, if you want to be with somebody, you want him to have good adab. You want to marry your daughter off, you look at somebody who's good adab, good character, you want your family to have good adab. So Islam here, mashallah, encourages us to have husnul khuluq. And the many hadiths about this. Ibn Mubarak rahimahullah said, لا ينبل رجل من علمه ما لم يزين علمه بالأدب. That no one will become righteous, okay? No one will become righteous by his knowledge until his knowledge beautifies his adab. Okay, or adab beautifies his knowledge. Because adab comes from the knowledge. If we seek knowledge and it doesn't benefit us in terms of adab, the knowledge didn't benefit us. So knowledge beautifies our character, our personality. And if it doesn't, then there's no benefit in that ilm. So knowledge should make us better believer, better in adab. Hadith says that ما من شيء أثقل إلى ميزان مؤمن يوم القيامة من حسن خلق. That nothing is heavier on a balance of a believer يوم القيامة than حسن خلق, than good character, good adab. So يوم القيامة, for believers, the biggest and the most important thing and the heaviest thing will be on the scale is حسن الخلق, good adab. Subhanallah. Husnul khulq. So, what is considered to be husnul khulq? Husnul khulq toward Allah, good adab with Allah Azza wa Jal, worshipping Him alone, follow His command, leave the prohibitions. That's husnul khulq ma'allah, good adab with Allah Azza wa Jal. Then you have husnul khulq ma'al khalq or ma'al makhluq. Good adab, good character with the creation. That means that you do not abuse your brother. Muslim akhu Muslim. Muslim is the brother of a Muslim. La yazlimuhu, he doesn't oppress him. Wala yakhdhaluhu, that he doesn't disappoint him. Hadith about brotherhood. So husnul khulq with the brothers is that you do not abuse him, you do not offend him, you do not backbite him, you treat him good, you smile at him, you give salam, you speak good with him. Many things that relates to a brotherhood. إنما المؤمنون إخوة. Believers are brothers. So the heaviest thing on the balance, on the scale of a believer Yawm al-Qiyamah will be good adab, good akhlaq. One Prophet was asked, سئل رسول الله ما يدخل الرجل الجنة قال التقوى وحسن الخلق. That Prophet was asked, what will cause a person to enter Jannah? He says, التقوى وحسن الخلق. So these two things come together. At-taqwa, the first thing, which relates to the worship of Allah Azza wa Jal, following His command and following the prohibitions. That's at-taqwa. And husnul khuluq is the adab that comes from the knowledge, the good behaviors, good character, good personality that comes from the slave of Allah Azza wa Jal. So those two things will cause a person enter Jannah. Allahu Akbar. So shows that it is not enough just person practicing his deen, but he needs to have akhlaq toward his fellow Muslims and things like that. Shaykh brings some of the hadith about this, and he talks about husnul khulq with your Muslims, your relatives, with your children. Prophet ﷺ, once upon a time, he kissed Hassan and Hussein, and there was a Sahabi, and he said, I have 10 children, I don't kiss them. Prophet said, he was shocked when he heard that. He said, Man la yarham la yurham. The one who doesn't show mercy will not be shown mercy to. So adab with our brothers is one of the important part of our deen. In the hadith, Prophet said that one Prophet was asked, Man ahabba al-khalq ila Allah? Qala, inna man ahabbakum ila Allah ahsanum khuluqan. That one Prophet was asked, who is the most beloved slave of Allah or beloved to Allah? He said the most beloved to Allah is the with good character, good adab. إنما بعثت لأتمم مكارم الأخلاق وفي رواية صالح الأخلاق. That I've been sent to accomplish or perfect the good adab, good character. So Prophet ﷺ was described with good character, good adab, good manners. When Aisha was approached by the Sahabiya radiallahu anha, and she asked Aisha, what is the adab of Prophet ﷺ? She said, his adab is the Quran. Yani, he is the Quran, walking Quran. He implemented, he practiced everything in the Quran. That's the biggest adab. This is the biggest adab to have. Allah said, Allah praised the Prophet ﷺ, وَإِنَّكَ لَعَلَى خُلُقٍ عَظِيمٍ. Indeed you Muhammad, you have great character. Allah Azza wa Jal praising his messenger to have good adab. And there are many subhanallah, in the seerah of the Prophet ﷺ, you'll find the adab of Prophet ﷺ. Some of the companions narrated the adab of the Prophet ﷺ. The like Khadim Nabi ﷺ, Anas bin Malik radiallahu anhu, that I served Prophet for 10 years and he never ever said to me that will hurt me, like, why do you do this, 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 anything like that complaint. For 10 years I never heard him say that. So it shows the Prophet ﷺ's adab toward his companion. So we'll continue inshallah next chapter next week. Let's move on next book, Riyadh al-Salihin, inshallah.